Yeah. And there we are. Okay, let me try this other thing too and see what happens. Loading your apps. All right, collaboration. All right, just click to highlight. Add that.
Is Margaret having fun yet?
Hi, Margaret. How you feeling?
I'm getting better. I went to the doctor today, so they told me what I already knew. They said I just have to write it out. There's nothing they can do.
Just a virus or something, right?
Well, they didn't. Yeah,
Yeah, whatever. Okay. Oh, hold on. Welcome to Fathom. Let's get you set up. Should only take 2 or 3 minutes, it says. Working on it. Sorry about that. But it's the first time we've used it. So, if we can get the thing to work to actually take notes, then that would be fantastic.
and
Hi,
just
Durandra.
so Anand, Claire has also been researching some alternative ways because I know it didn't work last week, right?
Well, I had thought it was on because I had never seen it before. Hold on, it's taking me over to Firefox. Hold on. I will see if I can put that on a different screen, which will theoretically make it less invasive.
Well, if you can make it work, I know Claire will be very happy.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Here's Fathom. It's the website for the application. Why we need to go to all that, I don't know. It's what's recommended for Zoom. So, and it's supposed to be free and blah, blah, blah.
Well, thank you.
Was this the automatic stenographer function?
Yeah, that's what it's supposed to do, theoretically. My second screen is being difficult. Sorry.
Speech to text at times can be hilarious.
Oh yeah, especially when you do them back and forth. What was it? So
Oh my gosh, that's what it is, huh? It's just talk to text, huh?
Probably. I don't know exactly. But it's fun when you do translations back and forth a couple of times too. That can be really entertaining.
Doriandra, how's it going? You're on mute.
I'm good. How about you? How are you feeling?
I'm all right.
Better? Okay.
I'm not going to complain.
All right, good.
I'm alive, so that's a good thing.
Yay.
Live is good.
Yeah. Delinia, how's it going? You getting ready for 420?
Oh my God, yes. They're already like super busy tonight.
Yeah, I see it's already all over Facebook about 420 and oh shit, it's tomorrow, huh? I don't even. I argued with one of my customers yesterday. I said, no, today's Wednesday. They're like, Margaret, it's not. I'm like, no, you are mistaken. What did you work a 24-hour shift? Today is Wednesday. And they're like, Margaret, it's not. And I looked at the calendar and they told me the date and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I think I was a little tired, but I can imagine.
We're all meeting up pretty early tomorrow to kind of have breakfast with each other. And yeah, but it's crazy. Like our store, it was actually kind of cool because, we've always done like half of what the other store has, and it seems to be building up some pretty good steam.
Oh, good. Good.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you.
They're great guys. Yeah, go ahead. Anat, are you talking? Because I can't hear.
I'm not. I'm still
Oh.
trying to get this thing to work.
Gotcha.
I don't think this is going to work right now. I'll have to work on it later. It's insisting it has to look at my calendar, and I don't use one. So,
And just a quick suggestion, maybe
Sure.
you could talk with Claire, because I know she's been doing some research as
oh,
well.
sure. Yeah.
And I'm sure the two of you collaborating can figure it out.
Oh, I'm sure. It's just, I had thought it was just, you just push the button and it works, but apparently there's a whole lot of setup stuff, which kind of caught me by surprise.
I bet there's YouTube videos of it too.
Yeah, there probably is. Yep. There's YouTube videos of everything, which is a little intimidating. Oh, what is that? Here's Thea. Sorry, she was sitting there waiting for me to let her in. I'm sorry, Thea. Hi, Thea. I'm sorry I didn't see you. I was looking at a different screen trying to get the dictation thing to work, which decides it's not going to. So sorry about that. Okay, we are recording though. So let me rub my nose so everybody gets to see that. Okay, so we have two major things to deal with today at the Whiteaker Community Council's Public Health and Safety Committee. The two major things are the Housing is Healthcare grant, and Doriandra's going to give us some ideas about what's going on with that. And then also Stephen is kind enough to tell us his information about mental health and depression and stuff like that. And considering what we've all been through for the last 3 years, it seems very timely. And the more I listen to the news, the more timely it seems. So does anybody else want to put anything else on the agenda? Not seeing anything else, I think we'll go. Is it okay if Stephen goes first? Great, you okay with that? Stephen, are you all right going first?
Yeah, I was thinking maybe do the urgent stuff with the grant stuff first, and then
Okay.
do me afterwards, because I don't want people getting antsy and focused on the grant stuff while I'm trying to change the subject.
Oh, okay. That's fine. And you're just such a nice guy. We would do you anytime. Don't worry about it. Okay. Sorry.
I'm
I figure I
flattered.
can get away with that with you. All right. So
You have to speak to my agent.
that's right. All right. So Doriandra, would you be so kind as to tell us where things are currently with the current Housing is Healthcare grant from OHA? But if you can also tell us what's going on with that other $25,000 that is kind of sitting there, and we're trying to figure out what to do. Whatever you think is appropriate for us to know. I have great faith in you. Please let us know.
Thanks, Anand. Yeah, I mean, Margaret asked me to do a big, like, kind of overview of the whole project a little later, but I think just the quick notes,
Sure.
so far, 28 families served.
Oh my God.
Of those 28, 5 were folks trying to get into new housing. So we had some people living in cars with kids and
Wow.
domestic violence cases and whatnot. So those are all safely tucked into housing and have good platforms now to kind of build on that. So
Oh wow.
when we, originally talked about just doing the security deposit, once looking at their whole case and talking to landlords and stuff, it was great to empower them with a month or two, depending on their circumstances and families and needs, to really be settled in tight, to have some kind of lead up there. So that was great. Had a lot of good experiences with some of those folks that had the new rentals, kind of connecting them with St. Vinny's so that they'd get furniture dropped off and get all the dots connected that way. So yeah, the kind of overarching partnerships that were set, really kind of solid in terms of referrals that were coming from Laurel Hill, also branched out into just that kind of aid networking, which has been really neat, where some folks had some money to fix a huge court eviction process, and then our grant would allow us to just do a little bit of that, and then but there was still money left over, so then it was neat recently to be able to connect dots with other aid groups and then like get the full amount so that people could just stay. So yeah, that's feeling really good. And it seems like the respondents are, we're getting more and more applications. Right now, I think I've got 11 families I'm working on. So yeah, it's kind of picking up steam, which is good. There's a lot of money left that is going to need to go back to the state, since we won't have time to spend it down, and that's a bummer, because if you don't spend down grants, oftentimes they won't give you more. So that's really disappointing, but it's what we've got. So yeah, the numbers are pretty big. Let's see, I'll give you a quick recap of the numbers here. Let me pull them up.
I see you, Delinia. We'll get to you.
Right now, let me see. Okay, so we started with 235,000. And thus far, the 28 families, that bill has come to $66,402.80. So that leaves a balance of $168,598 to spend down in 2 months. So, then the second grant that you asked me to chat about, and that was the one that I got OHA to agree to let us braid with the Housing is Healthcare.
Right.
And that's a $25,000 grant. And I think it's caused a lot of confusion because it was from a large, another separate grant that had nothing to do with the CBO one that we've been working with.
Right.
It was a public health equity grant, which had funding left in the tobacco prevention section. So it's kind of weird, and it had nothing to do with what we were doing, but they were, wanting us to have it. So that was 25,000. And if we allocate the salaries for the last 4 months of Drea and myself, we will have spent $20,432 on that. So that leaves approximately 5,000 left.
Nice.
And that is predicated on having to do the books, changing the books and cleaning them up, so that we're putting back into the ORAP grant the salaries that we've been pulling while we waited for the tobacco fund to land, which according to Drea has landed. I think that's what I'm seeing in the email. So that money would just get funded back over, and then we're left back with having this huge thing to spend down for the housing. So yeah.
Okay. I'm going to ask you one question before I get to Delinia.
Sure.
So you've been doing a great job making sure that there wasn't any fraud involved. And I'm hoping that the grantors appreciate that more than the fact that we didn't spend it all down. On the other hand, what do you think is going to impress them more in terms of wanting to give us more grant money? And the comparison is staying really tight on the fraud prevention and making sure nothing gets out that doesn't need to go out, or alternatively, loosening that up a little bit and making sure more money gets out the door. I mean, what do you think their focus is?
That's a great question. Yeah, in the meeting last week, from where they are, it's just like spend it down, spend the money. So that's a tough one. as a fiduciary of the grant,
Sure.
I've been focused on catching the flat out fraud that's happened many,
Yeah.
many times with these applications. So that's a tough call. I don't think it's any fault of WCC's. If anything, the difficulty with, the checks and some of the stuff that happened with that has been really the massive speed bump. Because if we'd been able to do the checks in like 2 batches a month, we would have been able to accelerate a lot more through the gauntlet, as it were. So, but with limited hands on deck and for various reasons, that just wasn't possible. So I don't think that, I think across the board, it's not like we'll be penalized for not being able to spend it down. But there's always that risk that they won't refund the council if money comes in later. And if I can just, do you want to get to questions, or can I grab one more point about the refunding potential?
Go ahead and say what you got to say.
Yeah, it's an interesting fact because, all this money came from, what is the acronym? Oh my God, it's so hard to remember. It's, it's Oregon Housing Community Services, which is where the feds initially got the money or into, right? But then OHCS gave it to OHA, and that's how we have it, because OHA had the structure, with the grant officers and analytics and all the systems that they keep all the CBOs across Oregon moving with these grants. So if Tina Kotek's resiliency plan, if more money goes into the Oregon Housing Community Services, they'll hand it off to OHA. And simply by the fact that we've had a long-standing good relationship with OHA for the most part, has been, I think, will be really good. And according to the OHA grant folks, we won't know anything until legislature looks at kind of these whole narrative wrap-up reports, which will come from all of us, the CBOs that have been implementing these programs. So like in the month of July, I need to sit down and create like real incredible databases that fulfill what the state wants in terms of like how many African Americans did we serve, how many kids, how many, what that looked like, how we affected various community changes through the county. So when they'll take all of that in to to Salem during the month of, or the end of July, then there may be a really good outcome. So did that answer? It was kind of long-winded, but I hope that makes sense.
I think I got it. I think I got it. I think basically it comes down to probably best to just keep doing what we're doing, because in the long run, that's probably what they're going to want. They may be saying get all the money out, but on the other hand, in the end, there's going to be some sort of oversight. And if the oversight people catch fraud going on, they're not going to be happy. So it may be unfortunate that we don't get it all out, but there isn't any real good alternative right this moment. But that's okay. That's okay. We've got a great reputation. And
it's okay. And today I did really nice emails, kind of in the way that I had to ask CDC if we could get an extension, because we had all these extenuating circumstances and we couldn't finish that grant on time. So today I sent the first round of emails to these different grant aspects and just said, hey, is there any way we can get extensions on them? Because we weren't, we're doing great work. And then I'll be able to present the housing as health program.
Yep.
Maybe it'll work.
Okay. So here's the lineup. It's going to be Delinia, then Jennifer, then Thea, then Margaret. Okay. Delinia, you're next.
I think you almost halfway answered my question. Isn't it possible to ask them for an extension, especially because you guys are looking for fraud?
It's possible to ask. They may not give it to us, but I've asked. So fingers crossed. Yeah.
Okay, Jen.
2 questions. What are A groups, and do you seem to be spending more time with dealing with fraud, quote unquote, other than spending?
Jennifer, what do you mean by an A group?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking you, because I thought you said a group. And I'm going, what does a group mean?
Oh, I don't think maybe,
Did I misunderstand that?
I think so. Maybe I may have mentioned CBO groups.
I thought you said, maybe it was just you with a group instead of a group. Oh
Not
my
like a group, no.
God.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know what an A group is, so I think we had a misunderstanding there. But then
Okay.
in terms of fraud, no. It's luckily the system of checks and balances that come from after the initial intake kind of eliminate fraud as I go. You know, you can kind of spot it. And then conversations with landlords and doing, you know, internet searches and stuff kind of sort that out. So no, the whole like trying to weed out eligible claims versus non-real claims, it's not more time on the fake ones, I'd say. It's more time on the real ones for sure. Yeah.
Did
I
answer your
think
question, Jen?
Not at this time. Thank you.
Okay. Thea, you're next.
I do feel hopeful, Doriandra. I don't know if you had time to see the email we got from Anna Christina, but it says, it asked if we wanted to stop payment, and then it asked if we disagreed to stop payment, we needed to submit any documents or information that demonstrate that as a CBO, you need payments. So I think when we meet with them tomorrow, we could probably demonstrate them. They might extend it. I don't know.
yeah,
I think they'll be generous,
I'm
but I
not
don't
sure.
know.
I'm not sure what that means, and I didn't receive it with. So I'd love it if you'd forward it over because I don't know what that is.
You were in the email, I think, so I'll look through again and I'll forward it to you.
Okay,
But
thanks.
I can, it just says, thank you, I got the invitation, here's the link. Yes, there was an email sent to you all asking if you as a CBO agreed to stop payment, or two, if you as a CBO disagree to stop payment. A, you must submit any documents or information that demonstrate you as a CBO needs payments. Just to clarify and make sure you are tomorrow.
Who is that from?
That was from Anna Christina Jacopo.
Oh yeah,
She's
Anna. Okay, I'll look
she's
up
the
everything
new
she
person
sent.
you know, they switched all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
It was in response to your email to her.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think she's new and we're all very confused. So tomorrow, Thursday, let's jump on that with her and we'll sort that out.
Okay.
Yeah, I got the impression under Gisela that they would work with us however we need to because we're doing such good work. So I'm going to say little prayers that we can go beyond the original deadline.
Yes, me too.
Prayers don't hurt. Okay, Margaret. Oh, you're off. You're silent, Margaret.
That's a first.
I was tempted, but I didn't say it.
That's all right. I'll make jokes at myself.
Okay, that's always best.
So first, I want to say, Doriandra, you know, I know what you're capable of, and I know what you can do. I worked with you through COVID, side by side, day after day, all through the pandemic, under stress, under deadlines. I mean, I know what you are capable of doing when you say, oh, fuck this, I'm going to make this happen. So I try to look at it from what can we do, what's possible, rather than why this won't work. So my question is how much of the I have a couple questions. How much of the leftover money in the time frame that you currently have do you think, given the ability to get checks, get them paid, get them out there, get them to the landlords, I mean, really under pressure and making it happen, how much of that money do you think you'll be able to go through? And number two, it's kind of a two-part question. If you had any help, do you need some help to make that happen? Would it help you spend more money so that we can reach our achieved goal? What do we need to do to make it happen?
Thanks, Margaret. We just need to be able to cut more checks, basically, because doing it twice a month would double the amount of recipients.
So how much of the money, we have 2 months left, right?
Yep, we have 2 months. So,
okay, so how much of that money do you think we can go through?
well, if we're averaging at about, let's see.
And can you increase that number?
Yeah, I mean, Mike, that would be amazing if we did it twice a month, because it's been averaging about maybe 14,000 in checks per time. So if we double that to 24, we can burn
That
down.
would be 28.
Okay, 28. I suck at math. 16.
okay.
Yeah, if we could cut about 56,000 more of that out into the community in 2 months, that would be
But that would still leave how much money?
well, if we could get another round of checks in for the end of April, so that's 2 sets cut in 1 month. And mind you, it's only like 8 checks at a time. It's not a huge pile.
Right, I get that.
So if we're cutting 16 checks a month, I think we could probably get close to maybe spending another, let's see, 10, 5, 6, 7, maybe 70,000, which would be really substantial, and probably
70,000 in the next 2 months, or 70,000 a month? I'm confused.
yeah, in the next in the next 2, by the end of June. Yeah.
And so how much money would that leave?
That would leave about 90,000 left.
And is there anything we can do to get, if you got some help, if
No, I mean, it's just
okay,
I'm doing fine. I got this down to a
I
T.
trust you.
Yeah, it's just a matter of,
I'm just looking for, ways to fix the problem.
yeah, I mean, if other folks want to dive in, as you'll see later in the kind of presentation, we're deeply funded or deeply like referred by 211. That's
Wow.
about 90% of all of the clients are coming through. So
That's great.
this is, I think the next thing is to use that crappy little social media graphic I made, because they suck at that, and like push that forward in all of our stuff.
Claire's great at that.
Do a fresh new round so that we can really ramp that up.
So just so I can catch up, because I'm a little slow and I haven't been to a health and safety meeting in a while. So basically we're getting referrals from other organizations. We have not found, like I saw on our Facebook group the other day, somebody posted, there's another group that is helping people with their rent. And I read it, and I'm going to guess that it's the same grant that we have. They're just sending somebody somewhere else. So what's happening is that we're getting people from other organizations. We're not finding our own. Is that correct?
Oh, no. My initial goals were to partner with multiple agencies, and for various reasons, the only one that really worked out was Laurel Hill.
Okay.
So I do a daily intake from Laurel Hill, but what happened in the absence of those strong partnerships, and we'll go over them later in more detail. Yeah. I put this program on 211, and within like 3 hours, the phone was blowing up with stuff coming in. So
I'm a little slow. What is 211?
Oh, sorry, Margaret. 211.
It's okay. I'm a little slow.
211 is a countywide information platform where you can call in. You just dial 211, and you can get help resources. So it's online. It's on. And the main reason I put us there was because in the community courts, which are part of Lane County, I don't know if everybody is familiar with that. It's a whole kind of program that deals with recidivism and community placement after problems occurred, minor crimes. And so down in the courthouse, you've got a resource room where you have Whitebird and all of the people I wanted us to partner with. And so basically people are coming out of difficult situations, and they're going through that referral room, and the main entrance is 211. So people that are already struggling with being unhoused, like they get a stupid or a stupid ticket because they fall asleep at a bus stop. Those people get channeled through community court. And when they come into the resource room, they are met with our program through the 211 source. And so
fantastic. Great job.
Thank you. So yeah, I tried to like connect so many dots so that we'd be front and facing. And so that's how we're getting most of our referrals. Just to separate quickly from your point, because it brought another really good aspect up. In one of the recent meetings, I think what we can do as an organization is, if we can't spend down everything, we can link with one of the other CBOs in the state of Oregon that have run out of funds. Because most of the CBOs started this program back at the top of COVID. So you've got people always asking for help. And so this would be something I have to bring to the board and say, hey, are we okay with expanding out of Lane County? You know, because first it was just the Whiteaker, and then y'all agreed, let's do Lane County. And then now, like, we may want to go even further. And that would be a short way to support more people.
The money.
Yeah, spend the money down, which is going to look much better with OHA, and it will create nicer also CBO partnerships.
Well, if you need anything from me to make sure that we get that money spent and that we do what we said we were going to do, you know that I'm available for you.
Thank you.
Okay. And I know what you can do in a pinch.
Yep.
So make it happen.
House on fire. Let's go.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Delinia, and then Jen, and then Thea.
My question is, in the CBO meeting, is anybody else having like trouble spending it down? And like, how many applicants do you get a month?
A month. So there's been a total of over 135 applicants. So I suck at math. Let me see. Let me divide that into 4 months. So it's averaging about 33 people a month. So we're not able to help them all because of dates of court evictions or landlords not willing to wait, you know, to go through the whole process. So like, for instance, right now I've got 11 families I'm working with, and they just keep coming in more every day. So, but that was a great question. Yeah, I think we're averaging close to about 33 to 35 a month. So.
And do you know, like in the CBO calls and stuff, is anybody else having trouble like spending the money down, or is it most of them started it earlier on?
Yeah, most folks started it earlier on. So I don't think there's people quite in the rush like we are. And again, that's really no fault of the council. It was just me doing this. And, you know, it's just like we had to finish our clinics, which was a huge effort. And then the CDC grant, which was a huge, vast thing. And then as soon as that was done, it was just kind of like, whew, okay, now let's get to this housing section. So it's unfortunate that we got a late start, but we're doing good with it while we can.
But on the other hand, I wouldn't have had you do it any other way, because those vaccine clinics were just really critical. So, you know, I mean, I wouldn't trade one for the other. It's just how it panned out.
Yeah, true.
Okay, Jen?
Oh, yes. Dory, have you been able to give your spreadsheets to the bookkeeper without any problems? Or has anything been an issue?
Say that again, please, Jen. I didn't hear you.
Have you been able to give your spreadsheet to the bookkeeper on the 15th? Or have there been any issues that are challenging, or, you know, not allowing you to do that?
Drea has had everything she needed from me when she needed it. There's been many challenges with timelines changing and communication problems, but yeah, my work has been thorough and everything has been where it's needed to be once people decided where they wanted it to be. So
is it on the 15th of each month?
It wasn't determined that until
I thought so.
2 months ago, and so now that is the cutoff date. Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay, Thea?
Guys, my internet's cutting in and out. Do you need more hours to get more people through? Because I know that the landlords are a stickler. I mean, I know that can be an issue getting a hold of landlords, I should say. And I also know that landlords, because I was in a meeting last night in Salem, and landlords are not wanting to accept this money because they're not guaranteed that their tenants are going to pay the 4th month rent. And so they were saying landlords are having a hard time accepting money to get people out of crisis, because then they have to start the eviction process all over. The moment they accept money from us, the eviction process starts all over. And some landlords are like, we're done. We've been messing with this for months. We finally got the eviction. We're not moving forward. So do you need more hours because you only have 20 to get more people done, or more time? I don't know. I think I'm making myself clear, but maybe not.
Yes, great question. Having more hours would be immensely helpful. Yes, I'm going over 20 hours easily every week because, like you said, it's a constant phone game back and forth trying to get landlords on the phone. And the largest part of this job has been just trying to negotiate with them to agree to keep tenants in, and then all the machinations about how to do that with their timelines, their bookkeepers, on and on and on and on. So yeah, actually going back to full time for the last couple months of this would probably be very helpful. But again, it won't help if we can't accelerate getting checks cut. So let's see. And then you had a second part of that question, Thea. Oh yeah, that they're reluctant to. Yes. So what is happening is frustrating because there has been so much aid being filtered into Lane County for folks. And so, yeah, I meet a lot of hostility from primarily property management companies that are really sick of having to add this to their admin task. And so that may be something unique about Whiteaker Community Council's ideas, is that I am, being very firm that we are not going to give you guys this money if you can't promise that you'll keep the tenant in. And that's something Anand and I were really concerned about from the get-go, was that we'd be writing $5,000 checks, everything would be fine and dandy for 3 months, and then the landlords would just go, okay, start the eviction again. And so I feel a sense of honor to really hash that out with the property managements or landlords to make sure that they're not just screwing us around and screwing their tenant, and that they're actually creating a safe passage for that person. So in all my conversations with landlords, I start with that conversation. I say, look, we understand the business side of being a landlord in Eugene and understand that sometimes the tenant is not the right fit for you, but that is our goal, that you keep the tenant there. And so I feel that I can say safely, unless people are just flat out lying, that these folks are going to be in good hands. And I haven't heard back from any of our respondents that we did fund that they're having further problems or that evictions became, imminent once they were paid up. So.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but we also decided pretty early on, and it was something that Thea had said, people who already did the 6 months, we were only going to focus on people who were 3 months or less. Do you remember?
Okay. Yeah.
So Jennifer, you had another question?
Doriandra dealt with a lot of it, but that was a concern of mine, is how many people do you think are playing the game of saying okay, and then putting it off, and then they get more time and they get to boot the person. Have you run into that? And there was another one, but I can't think. Is the WCC budgeted to extend your position as an employee? That's a concern as well. So, but have you had a lot of people who have, just because you haven't heard from the other people, does that mean that it didn't happen? Or do you have a sense that it could be happening where they're playing that game and hurting people?
Thank you, Jen. No, like I said, I haven't heard of any of our respondents because they could write back to me and say, hey, this happened. And so I haven't heard from anybody yet. But what's interesting is that the flip side of what you presented is happening, where many, many respondents are just jumping from aid group to aid group to aid group. And so I have landlords that say to me kind of in disgust, well, sure, we'll take the money because this person's been living here for an entire year and has never paid rent. They just jump from group to group to group. And so that's the flip side of what we're seeing. The second part of your question is, I've never been an employee of the council. I'm on contract though, until June, till these things finish. And so I will need to, we would need to change that existing contract, which right now is just housing as healthcare programming, to either expand hours, or from like what I learned from the state today is that I'll need to continue working into July to prepare all the wrap notes on the whole program, which are the ones they take then to legislator.
Your contract, Andreas, is till July.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I think the other one.
There is an order of things here.
Oh, my bad.
It's okay.
I just heard her
I'll
say
be happy to put you in the queue. Margaret, you're next.
I'm good. I think we'll talk about my question tonight in the meeting.
Okay, very good. Thea, you're
It's
next.
for the board. It's for the board to decide if there's money for her. That's a question that we need to look at our books and see what money's where and how. And so I'm going to guess Deandra doesn't even know. So, and we don't know yet. We don't know. We haven't seen any of our money in almost a year, so we don't know what's where.
Okay,
but we're going to figure it out.
Alrighty.
Answer your question, Jen.
Thea?
So, Deandra, are you getting a sense, because as a landlord, are you getting a sense that people have found jobs? So how are they going to pay rent after they've gotten our aid? Or are they going to go to another group? Because that's where you're hearing the frustrations. That's one of my concerns is we're giving people money, but are they working to help themselves as well? And I'm not putting a judgment on it, but we don't want them back on the street in 6 months. Or so are you getting a sense that they're working to improve their situation?
It's such a good question because it just hurts to not. You explained it perfectly. And I think the sense that I'm getting is that each case is really different. And when I would delicately kind of probe to see what the heck was going on with that person that had never paid their own rent, some of the things that were coming to light were really tragic. Somebody that, for instance, that had been unhoused in another state, had been like a victim of violence out on the streets, and then now have like a compulsive problem with being outside. Or I think the range of mental and physical illnesses and violence that happen to people on such a large scale may be the predicating factors for folks that just jump from aid to aid to aid to aid. Sometimes it's hard for them to get the proper mental health they need to reestablish themselves in the community as a working individual. So I think that all of that has come with a real kind of two-edged sword, where we don't want to incentivize poor behavior when the rest of us work our butts off and pay our bills and our rent. But at the same time, we have to be incredibly empathetic of really bad situations. So I feel like it's a two-sided thing, and I'm just taking each one as carefully as I could. And it's been hard to reject some, but some of it just had to be based on the information that I could get. So I hope that helps. That was long-winded again. Sorry.
Okay, Delinia, did you have something else you wanted to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to remind everybody that Andrea's contract is to the end of July, because we kind of learned lessons with the other grants where reporting time, like cleanup wasn't added to it. So
yeah,
thanks.
That makes sense.
I remember now, we did that, thank you. That
What
makes
did you
sense.
say? Clean up? Is that what you said?
Mhm.
Yeah, like there's a final reporting that you have to do for the grants, and that wasn't taken into account for the other grants and
Right.
Andrew's contract, but we did it with this grant, like
Great.
gave an extra month.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you for explaining that.
Okay, Jen, you had something else?
Oh, yes, Dorado, gosh. I'm really sorry to hear about there is no solution about those who have maybe perhaps not pursued and, put their feet on the ground to be able to maintain. That to me is really should be part of the issue. The success of what you're doing or what is the money that's coming from is doing. I don't know how you get around that, but what does RA mean?
Oh,
Thea mentioned it, RA. What is that?
Thea, do you know what that is?
No, I don't know what you're talking.
I thought it had to do with landlords or something.
No, we were talking about aid, other aid.
Oh, gosh, do you
Sorry,
think?
my is cutting out. Jennifer, it's really inconsistent. I
Meaning
apologize.
other aid, Jennifer, meaning that people are going from the Whiteaker Community Council to Whiteaker to CAS to HIV Alliance. There's all this money out there for people to have their rent paid. And so rather than using it to get on their feet and get a job and get
I get
a
it.
forward motion, what
Okay.
they're doing is they're just getting one to another to another. It's kind of like
I get it. And that's frustration because I mean, other people who really need aid and you have no way to address that. Is that something you can point towards whoever is giving the funds in order to make it more complete, or more well-rounded? I don't know. That's just a question. Thank you.
Okay, I've got a question. So, my concern is this. You're having to deal with people who have been through a whole lot of trauma, which invariably is going to cause trauma to you. What are you doing to take care of yourself?
Oh, that's a good answer, and I don't think I'm doing a good job, but I'm doing the best I can. Yeah, I have a lot of like family trauma going on right now with
I hear that.
dad ill and a lot of chaos, but I don't know. I think it's like reading books and walking and kissing the cat over and over and over. God, he's so cute,
Yeah, that's good.
yeah. So, but thank you for that. Yeah.
You're very welcome. I want to tell everybody a very, very short story. So I've worked with people with disabilities for umpteen decades. And there was one time when one of the case managers came into the house with somebody who's quadriplegic. And I swear to God, she said this. So, can you walk yet? Okay. What I'm saying here is a lot of these people who are going from housing grant to housing grant, as Doriandra pointed out, a lot of them have some serious trauma in their lives. It's not that they aren't trying to pick themselves up. It's the only thing they can do. And I'm not saying that's true of all of them. There may well be some that are doing a scam, but there's an awful lot of people that they cannot meet our society's expectations. They can't. They just can't do it. So try to keep that in mind when we're doing all this. And that's one of the reasons I am concerned about you, Doriandra, is because a lot of these people are very traumatized, and inevitably, when you deal with